Hi, welcome back to our podcast, Books Don't Review Themselves. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kim.
And today we are reviewing The Poison Garden by A.J. Banner. I am going to read the synopsis really quick. This is taken from Amazon. Elise Waters seems to have it all. A blissful marriage, a gorgeous Victorian home surrounded by lush gardens, and a dream job running her late mother's herbal boutique. But on the eve of her first wedding anniversary, Elise makes a shocking discovery that turns her life upside down and casts doubt on everything she thought she knew about her marriage, her friends, or even herself. As she treads into dangerous territory, Elise is forced to wonder, is her whole future at stake, or is paranoia getting the best of her? If she is to believe what she sees, Elise has every reason to fear for her life.
So how many stars would you give this beautiful poison garden?
I am leaning towards kind of a 3. And the only reason I'm kind of leaning towards a 3 is because I like the plot.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think it could have been executed better.
Mm-hmm.
But I could go down to a 2. I would say I'm between like a 2 or a 3. Right now I'm at a 3 because I think the storyline could be very good.
Mm-hmm. And I'm at a 2. And it would have been a 1, but there's a couple things that made it better.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I was disappointed. This is the first book I have read in a day in a very long time. I mean, normally our books are longer.
Yeah,
this 208 pages.
Yep.
So it's a short book to begin with. And it is a thriller, so thrillers usually read faster.
Yes.
But it went fast for me not because I was reading it quickly to find out what was happening next. Right. It went fast because of the 208 pages. And it went fast because the main character kept just repeating the same stuff over and over. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay. So, there was some skimming going, so that made it read faster.
Kind of like I said, I think the whole premise of the story is good. Mm-hmm. I think the plot idea is good. I think the execution is where she kind of fell short. Like you said, there was some repetition. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say exactly what I feel she could have done differently because I'm not a published author, Mm-hmm. But
you are a reader.
Yes, so. I have read other thriller books that execute what the feelings and everything they're trying to get across, and they did a better job of that. Mm-hmm. It's not like I can sit here and say, oh, had she done this, it would be better. Mm-hmm. Overall, I think what her idea for the plot, I like it. Mm-hmm. I just don't like the execution. I don't think it wasn't super suspenseful for me.
And I don't want to get into spoilers yet. I think we'll get into spoilers later. But right now, I feel like I can say this without spoiling it. Elise just had really bad relationships. She was just... she just did not know how to go into a good relationship. Or it... and I'm just like, okay, so that's a thing. I mean, it happens to people all the time.
Right.
But it felt ridiculous to me how they were so bad. I don't feel like I can say more than that at this time until we get to the spoilers. But that was one thing that really stood out to me. I'm like, how can you have this much bad luck in your life, girl?
And I think that's probably one of the other things is that the book felt rushed. Mm-hmm. Because it was just like one bad thing after the other, mm-hmm. and there was no
relief in between.
There was no relief, and with 207 pages, there are plenty of books that are done well for at 207 pages. But again, with the plot, I think this plot needed more.
Like 100 more pages.
Yes.
And she needed some time to break it in between. She needed some time for the character to think for herself.
Yes.
Instead of just relying on what other people are telling her and taking it as fact. That was the other thing that drove me nuts. She's got this person telling her this thing, so she's like, okay, I totally believe you. And then she goes off onto this path, and then this person tells her this thing, so she's like, okay, I totally believe you. And then she goes, I'm like, simmer down and take a second and think.
Yeah, that's the other problem I had is that it was just it felt like, I guess I don't know how to put it into words, but it just felt scattered. Mm-hmm. Maybe is a good way to put it. Is it just like it was one mess after the other, but yet it didn't tie well
together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was totally unbelievable was the police officer. So she goes to the police officer and she tells him this information, and he doesn't take a report on it. He doesn't write down the report. He just like, I'll keep this in the back of my mind. If something else happens, come to me and we'll either write a report or whatever. So then these things happen. People die, blah, blah, blah. And because this police officer had a crush on her, they don't look into these murders, and I'm just like, what? Like, that is too unbelievable for me. And I mean, I know this is a work of fiction, so it's...
But at some point, it's a work of fiction because it didn't actually happen. It's supposed to be realistic.
Exactly.
And
then it was just too many coincidences, just...
Yes.
To me, it felt like sloppy writing. It was just like, we're just going to put this in, have it be a coincidence so the story can kind of keep going. But it didn't really feel like much thought was put into it other than just to keep the story going to finish. And which is disappointing because AJ Banner, I've never read any of her other stuff, but I've seen good things about her other books. So I was excited to read this one.
And yeah, it sounded really good. And I don't think that the book is bad. I just think
it needed more.
It needs a little more work.
And the reasons why I gave it 2 stars instead of 1 star was, first of all, there wasn't a lot of characters in this book. So one of the characters I knew was involved somehow. So you find out later on how that person is involved in it. So I wasn't shocked because I knew they were, but yet it was a little bit interesting still. So I'm like, okay, that gave the book a little bit more meat to it, which was nice. And then the other one, and this is just a personal thing. This is not going to be many people out there. I'm training to become an herbalist. So just learning about, reading, not even learning much about them, but reading about the different poisons and stuff in this book was just kind of fun, so those 2 things, I brought it up 1 star, but I just feel like this one needs to go back and to editing, have more pages put on. And which is weird because a lot of times books usually need stuff taken away.
Yeah, this needs a little more. It needs more story building. It needs more of a plot building. It just needs more.
It needs more.
Yeah.
So I would say, like I said, I know one of her other books, like, I can't remember the title, but I'll link it down below. And if you find it really quick, people like rave about it. So I wouldn't say I would never read her again. I would.
The Twilight Wife?
It might be. So I would give her another chance and read another book by her.
Yes.
But as far as this one goes, I would say I would skip this one and try a different one by her.
And, I mean, you're not going to be out much if you do decide to read it, but I think...
There's so many other books out there. You might as well read something good.
Right.
Like, since this is only a little over 200 pages, it's a fast read. But still, read something else, that you will enjoy more. I mean, I guess if you're a huge fan of her and you've loved every other book, maybe read this one for that reason, but also go in knowing that there's a good chance you might be disappointed by it. So I feel bad. I always feel bad when I give, less than 4 stars, but for me, it is what it is. I can't be like, woo! Did you have anything else, or should we get into the spoilers a little bit?
We can get into spoilers a little bit.
So stop right now if you don't want to hear the spoilers, but if you're never going to read the book, you might want to hear the spoilers. So either way, whatever you want to do. Spoiler-wise, I'm just like, what the F? Okay, so this is like major spoilers. So seriously, if you are even thinking of reading it, don't continue. So I was happy. I couldn't really say this before about being happy because this would give away a huge thing. So she comes home early, a day early, because it's her 1-year anniversary with her husband, and she came home to surprise him. And she comes home, and he's having sex with a woman in their bed. Okay, so the thing that, like, I was happy about in regards to this is Elise actually was going to leave him, you know, and trying her hardest to get away from him, which made me very happy, instead of... being like, oh, no. She's like, screw you. We cannot work this out. I'm leaving. So that made me very happy. But he kept drawing her back in or trying to. Yep. And then, gaslighting her, telling her all these different lies and stuff. Okay, so there's that, which that could have been a good story in and of itself. Right. She could have went someplace with that. Then she's a sleepwalker and she's mixing up these herbal potions in the shed, or not shed, but
the shop.
Yeah, the shop. They kept calling it the shop.
Yeah.
So she's mixing these up in her sleep. And I'm thinking, okay, so this has potential. Maybe it's a plot device, and the author's going somewhere with this, and maybe she really is the killer, and okay, that's cool. That's great. I can see this. And then you have the ex-husband come in, and he's a freaking psycho. Okay, which is fine.
Which I found weird to begin with, that she had kept in contact with the ex-husband.
Mm-hmm. What I found stranger was that she never knew he was a psycho, and they were married for like 4 years. It's like all of a sudden, to me, it felt like just bam, out of nowhere, he just became this crazy psycho. And, looking back a couple times, she's like, oh, I can kind of see this. He didn't want me to go out and stuff. Okay, that's fine. The clues were there. But the fact that she hadn't seen it at all, and then goes into another relationship with a shitty man too, I'm just like, that was too much for me.
Well, and the weird thing is with him being as psycho as he was, to be able to have like left the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just leave it and not be like, I will kill you if you leave me.
Right.
That never.
But then to maintain that connection and texting and whatever, like it was weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's not super realistic.
No.
Because it's like, if someone is that way, most of the time they're very possessive about you leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you leave, it's like not clean, but like you cut that ties, like you don't talk to them ever again. Or you die. Or you stay.
Yeah. He wouldn't let you leave.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was just weird.
It was too much for me to overlook and be like, oh, yeah, I can see. I couldn't see this continuing to happen.
See, and I think that's what makes thrillers so fun, in my opinion, is that it's realistic that it could happen or it has happened, or
you're looking out your window at your neighbors going,
yeah.
This one, I didn't feel that. I'm just like, no. It
was too much that was very weird.
And it just felt like bad writing, like sloppy writing to me. Like, we need something that seems like thrilling, so we'll just put this from this book and this from this book and smush it together and it will work fine. And it didn't work fine.
Yeah. And the other thing that kind of irks me is when people involve like law enforcement or the judicial system or really kind of anything without
doing any research into it.
Yes, because it needs to be realistic. You need to do your research and incorporate facts on how things actually work.
And I don't care if it's a small podunk town and if this police officer is in love with you. No, I can't overlook, that he's just like, oh, get away with murder. I don't care. You're fine.
Yeah.
And even at the end, it was kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Just too much weird stuff.
And as far as like the killer themselves went, like I said before, that was a little bit like, oh, that's a little shocking. Not like shocking, but I'm like, I didn't see all of that coming. So that's why I was like, oh, that's cool. But it wasn't cool enough to make up for everything else.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, we should throw in some women power, some girl power at the end. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it just, this book just kind of fell short of the expectation.
Yeah. And then right after this, I read Lie to Me. I can't think of the author.
J.T. Ellison.
And that was a million times better. So.
And I'm not done with it yet. I've been listening to it. And I think I'm probably not far from the end. And I really liked it. It almost is comparable to like Gone Girl.
Yeah, it's very.
And when I first watched Gone Girl, I had not read the book or anything. That was like phenomenal to me. It was just like
mind blowing and so different and
very different. And so that's the thing, that things are so much better nowadays. Like the thrillers and whatever are done so well that you can't put something like this out anymore and get by.
No.
When you have people like, I think is it Gillian or Gillian? Gillian Flynn. Like we've read Riley Sager, Michelle Campbell.
When you have people like that writing, you can't just put this out and be like, 5-star reviews. I mean, she will get them, but I don't feel like there are Yeah, no. But like I was saying, after reading this and then reading Lie to Me, I started thinking, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to compare those two books in my mind.
Right.
So I tried to be fair to this one still and not be like, this is total crap because that was totally awesome. I don't feel like I did. I feel like this is still in my mind a 2-star, even, going through everything.
And again, that's kind of the other thing is that we read so much thriller that when you go from this and you read a really good thriller.
Mm-hmm. But I don't even want to tell someone to try this one. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, well, if you're new to thrillers, maybe try this one and you might. No, because I feel like they'll read this and be like, are all thrillers like this? Because if they don't make this sense, why would I want to continue to read them?
Right. Yeah.
I was disappointed.
Yeah. So I think the more that I think about it.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think I probably would give it a 2.
Yeah.
Like I said,
it had tons of potential.
Yes.
Really
I feel
did.
like.
It did.
I feel like where it's at right now would be like a rough draft or like a second draft.
Mm-hmm. A couple more times.
Yeah. But it's definitely not complete. Like I said, we've read so many good thrillers, Ruth Ware and all these different people. It's like that, this did not meet the expectations.
But hopefully, possibly we'll do a podcast on Lie to Me and then, you can hear about that goodness.
Yeah.
So we shall see about that one. As always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, watch it with your cat next time, whatever you want to do. And we thank you.
And come back for more.
Yay!
Bye.